What's up, y'all? It's John Master Lee.
And Lulu.
All right, Bethesda Softworks finally revealing something juicy around Starfield. This is real, you all, not vaporware. Actually, Bethesda's not really known for vaporware. It's just known for games that take way too long to make, and by the time they launch, still aren't quite done. They're a very ambitious group of ladies and gents. I'll tell you, it's been so long now since I've worked at Bethesda, like decades. So I can't even really claim that I'm an insider about like what goes on there. And they've gone on beyond where, you know, when I was a really scrappy bunch of dudes. Todd was still there. A lot of the original executives I worked with, my boss is still there and he's leading the charge. But I will say this about Bethesda. I watched some of this showcase they were showing right now, but I was moving around trying to get ready for this reaction. And it just brought back so much nostalgia about like the culture there. Like to this day, there's a lot of things that have been ingrained in like Bethesda that I know a lot of fans kind of create memes about, and it's kind of a joke now. But it is the kind of DNA of like what the company is like. So, you know, I'll share with you as an example, right? Like how long Bethesda takes to make games, because it's a little crazy. So I was there back on Elder Scrolls. They're working on the second one. It was called Daggerfall. They've been working on that game for so long, years and years, that they were in essence running out of money. Like they knew that they had to ship the game. Whether it was done or not, it reached the point where we have to ship or we are dead. And that was not an easy choice. Like, what do you do in that kind of situation when you know that the game ain't ready for prime time? It's not like today where Bethesda has a lot of money and they'll still put it out knowing like, well, we test as much as we can, but there'll still be like wonky things. They knew, like beyond weird stuff like you can get on a horse, start flying around, your horse is stuck in the air, or the multiple crash bugs. But it was so bad that first version of the game, you could not finish it. It was broken. It was like you get to a point in where and that's it.
Oh my God.
It was that scary. Like it was that heart pounding. But we knew we could fix it. We just had to ship it as is. But this was what they had to do, right? Because it's not cost effective to have to ship in a game that. It's dangerous, in fact. Back then, we didn't really have the internet in the way it is today where you can do patches very easily. When people needed an update to the game to be able to finish it, they had to mail them out one by one. I was sitting there, and there was 3x5 floppies, right? You had to like put in a floppy disk into an envelope, seal it up, and mail it out to one person after another. And it was the most pre-ordered game in Bethesda history, so it was about 100,000 of these things.
Oh,
yeah,
are you kidding?
Crazy. I have more stories about that, like how I was working down in the warehouse because we just didn't expect that many pre-order. The kind of things we had to do to talk to the media to kind of curb expectations. The game obviously went on to be a huge success, and thank God Bethesda didn't go under because, well, you know, we wouldn't have more huge hits that are unfinished today because that's how big they think.
Wow. Well, despite of it, they're still going on making games. Obviously, there's something. There's potential.
Well, let's put it this way. You know, I was just talking about how Microsoft is acquiring Activision. They've acquired Bethesda. So had I stuck around for Bethesda, yeah, I probably would be, you know, a multimillionaire sitting in my, you know, beachfront house now, because that was a multi-billion-dollar deal this last year or so in terms of when they were acquired. So kudos to the folks at Bethesda who believe in the vision, stuck with it, and it's it's exciting. So let's check out Starfield. First time combat here. I haven't seen this, most of this at this point, and I'm really curious to see where they take this. By the way, if you want some more cool commentary, check out my podcast.
And if you want some hotness, check out my fantasy show on my OnlyFans.
All right, and away we go. Is this color right? Why does it look black and white?
No, it's a grayish. Oh, it's like a movie.
It's on new Xbox, baby. I do like the, how would you say, the design theme. It's almost like based off of what they built today in NASA, you know, slightly futuristic. It's not some sort of super scientific out 500 years in the future type of look. I'm not digging the way they're doing the colors, though. Might just be this planet, but...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's no colors in other planets.
According to the scanners, the abandoned research facility is in this direction.
I'm just not a fan of the way that... It's almost like someone in college just learned how to do filters and just went nuts with them. It's like over application of color filters.
Oh, no.
So, this feels so Bethesda, though. So I did see y'all's comments about how people were thinking this looks like No Man's Sky, which admittedly I think some of the core gameplay does feel like it. But come on, you know Bethesda. They're going to go about 50 times deeper than anything that No Man's Sky is going to be able to pull off. Frame rate could be improved a little bit. It's like if you play something in the first person, you really want
It would appear that
smooth
pirates of the Crimson
frame
Fleet
rates.
are using the facility.
You know, the other problem I have is the contrast is too high. It's either really overly bright or overly black. There's no... Like, this is so effing dark.
Trying to jump our squall. Hold them off here while Brogan sets up on the roof. No one's getting through. Hey, there you are.
Gunplay looks pretty good. And this is one thing Bethesda is not quite known for is gunplay, so we'll see how well this plays, but so far it looks pretty good. Animations are awesome. You know what this looks like? This kind of reminds me of if id sat down with Bethesda, had lunch, and over a weekend go like, let's create a game that looks like Doom but plays like Elder Scrolls or Fallout. It's kind of a mix between all three, I think.
Is that what it really is?
It's still what it feels like.
You're gonna pay for that.
Oh.
I'm expecting some good physics here, Bethesda. Now, it is pretty cool that they got space combat in this, but it's a little ambitious. Oh, did I say Bethesda's always overly ambitious? It's like
Yes, you said
creating
that.
10 games in one. This does look really good, though. Oh, I'm about to share with you all. I mentioned this. I don't know why we were talking about this. I think we were getting bubble tea about how I was working on a game with Bethesda many years ago that was never released. It was actually covered in a couple magazines. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was called 10th Planet. It was
I
from
think you
the
mentioned
creators.
that.
You have Independence Day, the movie. If you want me to talk about the podcast, I'll share with you insight. I might even have some of the original design docs from then. I think I'm way past NDA, so I probably can't even share that. I thought it was a really cool idea, but the space combat feels a lot like they're finally bringing it back alive here in Starfield, which is so awesome. Like that
That'd
whole
be nice.
asteroid field brought back a very specific plot point that I'm starting to remember now, which was so cool.
That'd be nice for you to share.
I should do that, actually. I have a lot of old school material that is still in boxes of stuff from it's been 30 years, but yeah, some history. I have that for a whole bunch of places I worked at, like Konami and Sega, that not only like could kind of remind me of some of the things that I collected over the years, but probably projects that people don't even remember or haven't even heard about or who knows what. In any case, they look good. They look real good.
I don't know any story. There's not much story. It's just more of like.
There is a story trailer, so let's check it out.
But it's not.
Story trailer. And there we go.
Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about.
Saw it. The visions?
The artifact you found appears to be one of many.
Wow.
If we
Now
can
this is
find
what I
one,
wanted to see. I didn't see this in the combat trailer. Those cities are beautiful.
The man who sold me this told me that it spoke to him.
of
Now
course,
I'm
the
starting to
settled systems is full of groups
see
with
the scope of this.
minorities.
This is so dark. God dang, y'all.
Fleet doesn't follow the rules. Agree to work for UCC staff. Together, we take down these cutthroat pirates.
We're not just here to shoot the bad guys. We're peacekeepers. We protect the people of the Free Star Collective. When you sign up with the Crimson Fleet, no one quits. The only way out
I have to admit,
is death.
I am looking forward to this story. Bethesda is really good at weaving stories together.
But we are not stopping.
Most Dusties don't even make it this far.
Because whatever lies at the end of this road will change humanity
Wow, oh my god.
forever.
Look at all these places that they're going to flesh out, baby. Mm-hmm. All right, I will admit, Bethesda still sucks at creating character models. These characters look
We have a lot
weird.
to talk about.
Something odd about them.
We're all here because we're committed to the
Like?
biggest question of all.
Just
What's
like someone who didn't quite nail
These
it.
artifacts could be everything we've been
It's
looking
distinctly
for.
generic,
As to what they are,
yet oddly
what they're building.
off.
Just in how you can look and how your character.
It's funny, when I was playing Halo for back in the day, because Halo had a great storyline, like it hooked you in, like, why are these big Halo rings existing? You play all the way through, and the storyline, I can't even freaking remember it. It like ended up sucking so bad. Just like the Assassin's Creed story, like you're hooked on the premise, you get through it and you realize, actually, they didn't really think this through, and it really sucked. I have confidence that Bethesda will have a storyline here that finally will feel satisfying for like space exploration. I mean, that's the premise, I think, for every space game, right? Which is what's out there. What is the nature of the universe? What's the origin? What is my purpose in it? And I think they can explore it better than any other developer out there. And I speak to this from experience at working from Bethesda. Like when they were starting to build out the Elder Scrolls universe, I remember Ken Ralston, right, who's now a big name in the game industry, but back then he was just kind of like writing out the stories of this. He would literally write like stacks, like something like this much stacks of the story.
Oh my god.
Just the backstory of everything through the different time periods for like the world is fleshed out to that degree so that when they were building the game, it kind of followed the premise for everything. Like everything stuck together. You just think about how complex that is, where every person on the team had to know that whole story too in order to build it in a way that reflects, yeah, this makes sense, this adds up. Bethesda cares about building out that game world to feel real. I've never seen anything quite like that before in any other places that ever work. So
That's insane.
this is that's the one thing about gaming, why you have to realize if you ever wanted to work in the game industry, especially for companies like Bethesda, you realize it is a lifestyle choice. Like you have to commit your life to immersing yourself into this world for many, many years. Exciting, but man, memories.
Pressure.
Pressure.